Okay, so for today's lecture, I'm going to take around roughly around 30 minutes to go through the presentation. So we will be talking on standards and compliance in aerospace industry. So will be touching on the importance and benefits of standards and norms in aerospace, as well as we will look at terms and definition and primary concepts including aerospace effectiveness processes, basically on in terms of the implementation of aerospace quality management in the industry. All right. When we talk about aerospace quality management, if you have already referred or viewed the earlier video on AS9110D, so basically the AS9100, AS means the aerospace standard, okay, which is entitled as Quality Management Systems Requirements for Aviation, Space and Defense Organization. So if you look carefully here, AS9100, you already triggered yourself in terms of the sister documentation or sister standards, the ISO 9100, the quality management system for any other companies. So for aerospace companies, they come out with their own AS9100 based on the ISO 9001. All right, 9001. Now the latest one is 9001 2018, the latest revision. So it's basically based on the ISO 9001 2018. Okay, so this AS9100 is the latest is revision year 2016, right? So what we are going to cover in our topic today to look into what are the differences between the standards AS9100 and how is it being implemented in the industry. So the document itself, AS9100, is intended to standardize the requirements for the quality management system within all organizations. All right, you imagine that in the world, because aerospace is a global industry, so we want to make sure that the manufacturing, the delivery of products, services within the aerospace supply chain around the world having the same set of standards, okay, to result in improved cost, quality, as well as delivery performance. So we want to ensure that the product or the component produced in Malaysia is the same quality and cost, and in terms of the another product produced somewhere in Mexico, for example. So we want to ensure that the materials quality are the same, the roughly about the delivery performance are the same, and so on. So all companies or suppliers that take part in the aerospace industry must obey the AS9100 standards. When we talk about aerospace quality management system, right, if you still remember from my previous video, this is one of the slides that are being taken from those the previous video. We talk about on the quality management principles, and there are 7 quality management principles. I would like to touch upon the 7 quality management principle, which is the customer focus, okay, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision making, and relationship management. So these 7 quality management principles are also applicable to the aerospace industry. Okay, if we look one by one, when we talk about customer focus, it means that organization will depend on their customers and therefore should understand current and future customer needs and should meet customer requirements and strive to exceed customer expectations. So, and a good aerospace company will always put customer as the number one priority, because they put the customer as the top priority in their organization. All right. And then next is leadership. What do we mean by leadership? Leaders will establish unity of purpose and direction of the organization. So you must have a good leader in an aerospace company. Okay, they should create and maintain the internal environment, give motivation to people to ensure that the quality management system are in place, in which people can become fully involved in achieving the organization's objective. So a good leader will ensure that the quality management system will be implemented. Okay, so there's no point of having a system, a quality management system, but the leaders themselves are not obeying, are not embracing the quality management system. So the system will fail. All right. And next, in terms of the quality management principle, are engagement of people. The third one is engagement of people. So we talk about competent, empowered, and engaged people at all levels are the essence of an organization and drive the organization ability to create and deliver value. So we talk about engagement of the people inside the company. So for each level, for each division, each units, they must be having a good cooperation. So highly competent people, highly engaged people, and so on. So the next one about aerospace quality management system is process approach. The desired results are achieved more efficiently when activities are related, resources are managed as processes within a coherent system. So there must be a proper or a well-established process approach in place in a quality management system. And then we believe in improvement, continuous quality improvement in the organization to reflect the overall performance should be an ongoing focus of the organization. So normally in ISO 9001, we talk about continuous quality improvement, right? It's not continual, it is a continuous quality improvement. And then the number 6 is evidence-based decision making. So decisions based on the analysis of data and information is more likely to deliver desired results. So any decision that they want to make in a good quality company is basically on the evidence, based on the evidence, on the facts, right? So that the decision, quality decision can be made. And then finally, relationship management. An organization and its external interested parties are interdependent and share a role in each other's success. All right. So those are the 7 quality management principles that are applicable to aerospace industry. Okay. What is AS9100? All right. As I said, I'm not going to go through in detail. You may refer to my previous video to understand the whole document, the construction of AS9100. So, but for the sake of today's discussion, I will just briefly discuss in terms of the definition. So, the SAE, okay, aerospace standard, okay, the aerospace standard AS9100D is established by the SAE. Okay, it is called the Quality Management System Requirement for Aviation, Space and Defense Organization. So probably some of you ask me, what is SAE? It is a Society of Automotive Engineering. Okay, and it's a quality management system standard for the aerospace industry. Okay, and it is derived from the ISO 9001 International Standard Organization, and it contains ISO 9001-2015 in its entirety, along with additional aerospace and defense specific requirements. Okay, so basically, if you compare both documents, you will see that the ISO 9001 actually being adopted into AS9100D, but with additional requirements for aerospace and defense. All right. So if we look at the high-level structure for AS9100D, as well as ISO 9001, so you will basically see the four main elements. The first one is plan. Okay. Plan, do, check, and act. So we have the PDCA. So the cycle of having a plan, you have all the manuals, you have all the procedures, the documentation, the forms, and so on, and the targets, all right, where you put in planning, all right, and then the information when you perform the action. Okay, you do the tasks, the operation, you design, product release, you manufacture, and do all sort of thing. So basically this is the doing it thing, right? And then we have the process of checking, performance evaluation, internal audit, management review, monitoring, analysis, and evaluation. And finally, once you have checked it, you then intervene, do intervention, where you act upon it, you do improvement, you check on non-conformity, corrective action, and continual improvement. So the process continues, and you then do the planning again and perform the rest of the process. So if you be able to look into the AS9100D, the aerospace standard, you will see the whole document here, and from number 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 processes. All right. So 1, 2, and 3 is basically the preamble of the report. So if you are able to find, let's say you are working now, okay, and your company having ISO 9001, probably you would like to ask the control document and see the manual of ISO 9001, and you can compare it with AS9100D, where it is a requirement for aerospace industries. What are the benefits? Okay, basically AS9100D, okay, it is an ideal quality management system for facilities that are serious about quality. All right, when we say you want to implement AS9100D, you have to ensure that do you need AS9100D, or you just require ISO 9001, right? But a company who would like to go into the business, doing business in aerospace, they are AS9100D is the passport. Basically, this is the ticket for you to go into the business for aerospace. Without AS9100D, you won't be able to tender for documents. You would not be able to participate in giving quotations, not even being recognized as a quality company, even though you have ISO 9001. All right. So with the documentation, with the standards AS9100D revision 2016, the registration will provide a competitive edge. So companies without the standards will not be entertained to go into aerospace, right? So basically this is the passport to go into aerospace industry. And the registration itself will give the facility the benefit of an objectively evaluated and enforced quality management system. So basically, similarly like ISO 9001, right? The company will be audited. They have internal audits, similarly with AS9100, and then they have audit performed by external parties, right? So it is a yearly and continuous process. So a facility that operate AS9100D so will exhibit the following. Basically, number one, the company will have a philosophy of prevention, rather than detection, meaning that it is a proactive company to find is that whether there are any fault or any potential disaster, breakdown in the system. So it is a philosophy of prevention rather than detection. Okay, and then the second item is risk management of potential concerns. So as in the previous video, you will see there is a description on what do we mean by risk management, right? So and later in the course we will look into more detail about how risk management can be implemented in the aerospace industry. And the third one is continuous review of critical process points to ensure that the process can be further improved. Even though it's already perfect, but nothing is perfect in aerospace. So basically, we want to ensure that there is a continuous review of critical process points. All right. And number 4 is corrective actions as well as outcomes. Any fault or any mishap must go through a process of corrective action. You must correct the items, and then there will be the outcomes will be monitored. And then number 5 is consistent communication within the process. It is well documented and among in terms of facility suppliers as well as the customers. So the process involve the stakeholders internally as well as externally, meaning that we are talking with the suppliers, we are talking with the customers to ensure that the process are in high quality. All right. Thorough record keeping and efficient control of critical documents, meaning that you can trace document. All records and documents can be tracked and can be traceable. You can know where the document goes, where the material coming from, when is it expired, and you have a proper control of the record keeping. So this is what we mean by a company having AS9100D. And then total quality awareness by all employees, due to the fact that it is embraced or it is being implemented by the leaders as well as the whole company. It's not just the quality department people only. It is involve everyone. All right. And finally, number 8, high level of executive management, confidence, and support. To continue, right? What are the key changes? The new AS9100D 2016. Okay, when we talk about aviation, space, and defense requirements, we will look into product safety, right? Which is added in a separate clause and in selected areas. It's already been discussed in the previous video about product safety, counterfeit parts prevention, risk, in terms of risk management, awareness, human factors, and finally configuration management. So I really encourage you, if you have not looked into the previous video, you must go and view the video and understand the key changes in AS9100D. Right? So if we look at the 9100D, we have another subsection called AS9110C. This is a sector-specific standard geared towards organization which is involved in the MRO, maintenance and repair services for the aerospace industry. The AS9100D is a general certification standards for any company, aerospace company in general. But if the company involved in MRO, they must then have the AS9110C 2016 for the certification. It is a management system requirements that offers additional comprehensive requirements in terms of the criteria for overhaul facilities and maintenance repair for the aircraft industry at all levels of the MRO, maintenance repair and overhaul. All right. Meanwhile, we have another one for the warehousing and distribution services, which is the standard called AS9120B. Okay, it is a standard design for organizations that provide warehousing and distribution services and do not perform any value added services. Basically, it's just a warehouse. Warehouse supply general supplies on components for aerospace. So the primary aim of these standards, AS9120B, is to promote a full line of traceability from the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, to the customer for all aspects of the aerospace supply chain. It can be applied to any form of distributed product, including for example, like tires, fasteners, electronic system, batteries, and others. And this particular standard seeks to ensure a complete chain of custody, full traceability, and availability of all records. So basically, if a company is not involved in warehousing and distribution, they do not need to have this specific AS9120B. They can just have the AS9100D for a start, right? Let us look into the International Aerospace Quality Group. Okay, this is the IAQG. It is called the International Aerospace Quality Group. And basically, the IAQG consists of key leaders within the aerospace fraternity or realm from the Americas, Europe, as well as Asia Pacific. So it is a membership of aerospace quality. It comprises of major aerospace industry companies, the big giants in the world. There are companies who are not be part of the IAQG because of probably they do not need to go into the big aerospace supply. If you are not part of the quality group and because this IAQG they have membership, so this membership is open to all companies, especially in the aerospace industry, and it's not compulsory, right? So they bring together and share the know-how to develop standards for high quality products. So those companies, the major companies, they set the standards for aerospace industry standards. So its mission is basically to implement initiative that make significant improvements in quality and reduction in cost throughout the value stream by establishing and maintaining dynamic cooperation based on trust between the international aerospace companies, right? The General Assembly of IAQG is a platform for exchange among the aerospace community worldwide. And at this assembly, right, so they have the chairman, they have the secretary general, they have the council members. They will set the goals, objectives, priorities, and initiatives, right, which are discussed and suggestions are provided for improvement. Okay, currently there are 50 members inside the IAQG, inside the group. Okay, and this assembly, and they are chosen by the 3 geographical areas. So basically, there are members from the Americas, the North and South America, Europe, as well as the Asia Pacific. So you can see that these are the 3 dominant aerospace players in the world. So the members are from the largest aerospace company of the world, where we have 28 in all. In terms of the role, okay, the International Aerospace Quality Group, the role of members will be to contribute to the setting of the quality standard, because the quality standards being revised. They have time, from time to time, they will revise in terms of whether the standards are need to be improved or need to be changed. So basically, they will look at the next 10 years and improve policies, standards, and practices which will serve as a model to the international aerospace industry. So in this process, they will also learn and acquire experience, because new technology are being introduced from time to time. All right. So then, in terms of technology, in terms of manufacturing, technology in terms of the maintenance, technology in terms of the supply chain, so in terms of the quality management. So all of this will be discussed and being included in the discussion to improve the policy for the aerospace standards. So new methods of quality improvement is being implemented by the world's leading aerospace companies. Right. Let us now look into the aerospace industry in Southeast Asia in terms of the implementation of AS9100 and the relevant standards. Okay. If we refer to the online aerospace supplier information system, right? What we call it as the OASIS, OASIS. There are 18,493 companies worldwide which are certified as AS9100D. Okay, so how many from Malaysia, how many from India, how many from China, from America, and so on, we will look later on, but we want to focus on Southeast Asia only, right? So if you can see here, roughly around 20,000 companies already have the passport, already have the being certified as AS9100D, but not because the numbers are fluctuating. It's quite dynamic. Some, because the nature of the certification, it is renewable, meaning that within 3 years, the certificate has to be renewed, right? And the company will go through the process of auditing, right? And some companies, they lose their certification, and some new companies gain certification. So the numbers are fluctuating from year to year. All right. And then how about AS9110C, the companies that have maintenance, repair, and overhaul standards. So there are basically 667 MRO companies, maintenance organizations across continents licensed as AS9110C, whereas 1,893 establishments own AS9120B certification globally. So this is the last one is the warehousing and suppliers. Okay. So let us look into the Southeast Asia. On the other hand, approved MRO or Part 145 organizations in Southeast Asia, okay, are being encouraged to be certified. Not necessarily this Part 145 organization. For example, in Malaysia, it is certified by Civil Aviation Authority Malaysia, CAAM, are AS9110C certified, or standards, having the standards. Okay, but by having the standards, it will boost the productivity and increase customer satisfaction. So you may check the MRO companies. We have around 60 plus companies having Part 145 under CAAM Malaysia. Whether how many companies having AS9110C? The answer is 6. Only 6 companies out of 60 plus MRO companies having Part 145 organization. Only 6 having 9110C, right? So what does that mean, right? So this means that there are we need more companies. Look, compared to Singapore, for example, they have 23, right? Thailand has 41, Philippines has let me just switch off my Philippines has 5, whereas Indonesia has only 2. So it shows the dominant of certain countries in terms of doing MRO. So as we have already discussed earlier about the performance of aerospace industry in Malaysia, we can say that Singapore having the most businesses in MRO, because they can do from nose to tail activities compared to other countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, and Indonesia. Right? So this the benefits of having AS9110 basically will attract more client to the company. All right, so of course it's another burden, but it will show that the credibility of the company to perform the maintenance, repair, and overhaul. And if we look here, this boom has given large opportunities for aircraft maintenance companies to bloom and compete with Singaporean companies who have long dominated the sector, where in terms of the warehousing and suppliers, AS9120B, right? So you can see that the numbers are huge in Singapore, whereas in Malaysia we only have 4 companies having AS9120B, followed by Thailand 2, Philippines 2, and Indonesia 1. So you can see that by having the standards, it shows the credibility of the companies, as well as the credibility, the high quality standards that the companies can deliver, right? So more and more companies in Southeast Asia, for example, for Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia, must go into the aerospace standards. And how to implement? Let's say a company would like to implement the aerospace standard. There are 3 basic options. Basically, if your company would like to go into AS9100, right? So you can either do it completely using internal sources. You use your own company employees, right? Or you can hire consultant, right? Or meaning that you have some allocation. You can then hire consultant, let them do all the necessary things, prepare documentation, and prepare for your audit, and will handhold you until you get the required standards, right? Or you can also do it yourself while taking advantage of external know-how. So this is going to take a very long time, right? This is just similar to any other certification under the ISO. So I'm not going to explain the step-by-step in terms of preparation of ISO AS9100D implementation process. So you may want to look at it later on when I pass you the slides. As a summary, what we have already looked at what is AS9100D and the subsequent standards for AS9110C as well as 9120B for these suppliers. So we can see that there are benefits in terms of having the such standards in place in the company. We also touch upon the management principles and the 7 management principles and the high level processes for AS9100D, which is the plan, do, check, and act, right? So a well-designed and implemented aerospace QMS, quality management system, has been proven to provide organization with benefits such as saving money. Of course, you will save costs because you are not going to waste a lot of materials, resources, and time through enhanced product reliability, effective control of procedures, improve record keeping, and minimization of wastage. Those are the benefits of having QMS. Moreover, the establishments of quality management system will undoubtedly increase knowledge of quality in the workforce, right? And finally, registration to either AS9100 or AS9110C or AS9120B will place an organization on the leading edge of quality initiatives. So we have seen companies in Singapore manage to have all the certifications as well as having more businesses compared to the neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. So it demonstrates a company's compliance to the internationally recognized ISO 9000 and the additional requirements for aerospace industry. As I said, having the standards in place, aerospace standard in place in the company will open the door to the business of aerospace. So if aerospace company embrace the QMS, it demonstrates their seriousness, engagement, and responsibility towards their operations and towards their clients. So I hope you have already understand a little bit in terms of the what is the quality, aerospace quality, what are the benefits behind it, why do we need to have the aerospace standards in place in the company, and how can it be implemented, right? And we have already seen in terms of the advantages and disadvantages of not having AS9100. So with that, I would like to stop sharing